A chapter from the Sunrises and Sunsets book series by Rhonda Green, Needing Help. In 1991, I was living and working in Grand Prairie, Texas, a city located halfway between the larger metroplexes of Dallas and Fort Worth. I had taken the job in Grand Prairie to allow me to live in my oldest sister's home. I was taking care of it while she was going through some difficulties. I was having problems with my second husband, which was causing me to have many sleepless nights. Not being able to sleep was causing me to constantly be late for work. I went through the company's employee assistance program to get counseling. The program stated that you could not be terminated if you were seeking assistance through the program. That was what the program documentation said. However, that did not stop human resources for terminating my employment due to the tardiness. It was interesting. On my last day at work, my manager had received the termination paperwork early that morning. He waited until after 2:30 p.m. to tell me that I was being terminated. He said that I needed to report to human resources no later than 3:30. Then he asked me if I would design the repairs for the jobs that I had just picked up before I left. Ha! I looked at him, laughed, and began to clean out my desk. I put any paperwork that I thought someone else could use into a gray 50-gallon trash can. Being as mischievous as I could be, I picked up the coffee pot and poured it and dumped the grounds in the trash can. I was not trying to make it easy for my coworkers to use my work as templates for future repairs. Because I was fired from my employment, I was initially denied unemployment. The fight for benefits began with the company and the unemployment agency. I showed up at every scheduled hearing. I brought with me the information on the employee assistance program and proof that I was seeking counseling. Month after month, hearings were scheduled that I attended. The company never sent a representative or replied to any inquiries made by the agency. As this was going on, my family was really suffering. During the second month, I realized that I needed help. I went to the local food bank where I was denied assistance because I had been fired, not laid off. This made me very angry. For over 5 years, I had donated cases and cases of food to the food bank. But when I needed help, I was denied. A month before I lost my job, I had donated 8 cases of canned goods. I had just received a thank you for your donations contribution certificate from the food bank. During those months, I learned how to cook meals that I could stretch to make it enough to cover my husband, daughter, and I for at least 2 days. My parents were paying the mortgage, and I refused to ask for more. I was 30 years old and had been working since I was 17. My daughter was 12. At the same time, my husband, 31, was unemployed and we were both looking for jobs. There was absolutely no money coming into the house. With no other alternative, I went to the welfare office to apply for the free lunch program for my daughter and any other assistance that I could get. I completed the paperwork and checked off the boxes for everything: free lunch, food stamps, and assistance. I sat in the lobby and waited for over an hour. This lady came out of the back office and called my name. I went over to where she was standing. She began to yell at me in the lobby. She exclaimed loudly as she asked me, Why did you wait so long? Now this is an emergency case. I stood there and I just cried as she kept yelling, admonishing me in front of all of those strangers. The office manager came out and asked, "What's going on?" The young lady began to explain that I had waited so long to get help that now it was an emergency case. When he looked at me, I said through my tears, "I just wanted free lunch for my daughter to make sure she had a full meal each day." The manager immediately excused the young lady from my case and assigned me to another representative. This lady calmly spoke with me and apologized for her coworker. Then she completed asking information for the case. She too had been a hard worker and understood how hard it is for people that have always worked to ask for help. I was eligible for much more than I wanted. Woohoo! I received free breakfast and lunch for my daughter at her school. $325 in food stamps and $115 a month. She also gave me information for other agencies that would help with my mortgage and utility payments. 8 months before I was fired from my job, I had set up direct payments from my paycheck to pay back taxes to the Internal Revenue Service. It was ironic that I received a call from the IRS asking about the payments, which they were no longer receiving. I told the representative that I was receiving $325 in food stamps and $115 per month in assistance from the welfare program for me and my daughter. I asked her where would she like for me to send them. She quickly apologized for calling me and got off the phone. After 6 months of unemployment, the agency granted me benefits. I had been to every hearing and on every scheduled conference call. They found that I was unjustly terminated. The company was required to pay the unemployment starting at the date of termination. It was almost a full year before both my husband and I found jobs. In the meantime, I was most grateful for the help that I received through the welfare program. The lesson I learned: sometimes you have to admit that you need help, not only for yourself, but your family also. Ask yourself this question: what is more important, your pride or your family? Help is wonderful and can tide you over until your circumstances improve. Thank you for listening to one of my chapters from the Sunrise and Sunsets book series. These books contain true stories from my life in random order. Sunrise stories tell of hope for the future, while sunset stories are about challenges or obstacles overcome. Read about romance, dating between the ages of 40 and 65, grief, marriage, workplace discrimination, and more. At the end of each story, I share a lesson that I learned from the experience. You will laugh or cry with me, and most certainly enjoy the stories from a life well lived. Would you like to read more stories? Click the link below to purchase one or all three books in either ebook or paperback format. And thank you so much for listening.